Hi, this is Rooney207. Welcome back. Today we'll talk about League of Kingdoms. The first item is the March update that they have, and then the second will be just a status on my day 24 of my continent versus continent for my continent 4 results so far, at least for my accounts. In terms of the March update, they broke it down into three sections. One is the major updates, work in progress, their WIP, and then fixes in points. And the first one is the for the major updates. They updated the battle calculation logic, also the logic for clashing, and then for a final holding reward for the ancient temple, which will take effect in the next continent versus continent. They also updated the defending troop limit in the gates. They've increased it to 3 million. The kings can now kick players, which we've known for 24 hours out of the CvC map. The the good part is you can potentially save your castle, your alliance members' castle from being zeroed. So you can kick them back to the home kingdom for that, and also for people who are trolling, cheating, and for whatever adverse effects that you believe that castle may have, you can kick that castle. The attack on resource node in continent versus continent is limited to 3 times per hour, which typically in the home kingdom is about 10 times per hour. And this is not this is just a direct attack. It's not including the rally. You can rally as many times. Rally takes a little bit longer. There's a 5 minute clock and things like that, and the march time, and you can control march speed to some extent based on the rally leader's speed. So it gives the castle a little bit more time to recover or to wake up if they're sleeping and things like that. So it happens, and it's just I think they're trying to balance fair play. The work in progress, I think this is the big one, the continent staking rewards for individual stakers. Currently, they rewarded the top stakers only, and then there's really not a lot of incentives for other stakers. Yes, you do get for like the mines, the crystal mines. You have an increase 300%, but chances are the average person who is staking isn't really benefiting from it significantly because he or she may not be as active, or there's too many people in the continent and you're all competing against it. The continent may not have sufficient rules around it or enforcement, the ability to enforce, because they have limited number of strong players or active players in the main alliance. There's a number of reasons, and I think if N plus is going to create this type of staking incentives, they should really force the crystals to only be by individuals, certain levels, crystal, maybe 3 and above, to be only mined by individuals that stake or stakers or have a minimum number of staking. And that could be delegated as sort of like a continent DAO, where the king can go into the settings kind of like the Congress setting of assigning titles and things like that. And one of the king's skill is to be able to assign the number to that effect who can actually mine the crystal levels. And I think later in the future, N plus and Lock should come up with more and more king skills, things, kind of considerations like imprisonment or some of the attributes, either both to be able to use for a home kingdom and continent versus continent. So I hope they'll put into more considerations in that area. And the other ones are kind of a little bit of quality of life, the fixes and points, and some of the like castle burning animation at the icon or text for a locust staking buff. There is a staking buff for those who are in top 3, and I think they'll have to layer and provide better incentives or rewards for the continent staking. Otherwise, there isn't really, and there has to be an earning potential, and it should be tied to the DST, the Dragos, or combinations where if you don't have it, you should get fractional pieces that will enable you to potentially get a Drago eggs or some kind of reward. I think the reward for locust staking is pretty weak, and there's not a lot of incentives to stake it compared to other games. I think they're pretty far behind from that standpoint. They worked on like red dot buffs, not list refreshing on the kingdom page. Some of the continent versus continent objects showing the field settings, the screen moving, and I hope they'll continue to further work on the lag when we're in continent versus continent mode. The lag is pretty significant, and also I think the way the castles are being attacked and rallied, you can't really even see it. Sometimes you see a line, and sometimes you don't, especially when you're in a heavy a gate or fortress battle where you think you're defending or sending troops to the gate itself, but you're actually somehow, because your opponent takes over the gate, it turns into an offensive piece, and then you lose your shield, and then from there the lag takes place, and then you might get single, double, triple rallied by some of the other side's whales, and so you end up losing or getting zeroed, and you're having to train a lot of your troops. So I think there are a lot of inherent areas that I hope that N Plus and Lock will make improvements to the CvC gaming process, and then I think areas like the exchanges, a lot of continents right now, they're just playing for exchanges to save their crystals, to save their speed ups or troop training. They'll just figure out how to use T1, T2, or T3, T4 even to exchange. I don't think there's a sufficient enough allocation towards the kill points and some of the. So I think it's just I think the mechanism for continent versus continent is there's a lot of I think inherent exploits that other people can trade and things like that. So there's partnerships and teamwork. So those are some of the considerations I hope that Lock and N Plus will work towards in enhancing that feature. In terms of the actual, let's see here. Trying to find where my I think it's just rebooting now. I was going to give an update to my account here, and as you can see, I've made some pretty decent progress because we're waiting for the next gate to open to battle. So many of us are either just accepting rallies from or attacks from other from our opponents while we're waiting for the gates to open, or we're just doing Spartoids, or we're doing monsters. I think monster is probably the best for week 4 if you have enough healing, because you get points for that versus Spartoids. You do gain the crystals, and you do gain a little bit more. It depends on what you need, but if you're looking to kind of supplement or gain incremental points, and I'll kind of show you for my account purposes too. I think maybe a little bit more reliance on the monster piece may be more helpful from that standpoint, at least to kind of keep up at a minimum level your points and contribution. So my action point is down below 13,000 now, so that's been a good improvement from the 195,000 I started. So I'm hoping to still get it down to 0. That's still the goal. The research is dropped a little bit. Now it's 20 and a half days left for the Academy research there. Let's see. The crystals, I've bought quite a few of the 30 days one from the regular shop at 13,000. This is, unfortunately, I didn't have the VIP, so this is the 13,000 crystals. So I had to buy a bunch of them to train my troops. Training is very expensive from a troop standpoint, so it's better to heal your troops and to kind of work with the big whales in your continent to either support the whales or to support them through rallies or defending the gates, where you have stronger buffs and you have a fewer mortality, and that's what you want because troop training is very expensive. It's cheaper to heal, and it's cheaper to get better exchanges against your opponent. So you can get higher death, which counts more for week 4 as your results. So as you can see, my resources have been drained quite a bit here, further down from that standpoint. And let's see here, so I believe I did what I can for the daily and the event here. And then for the CvC itself, as you can see, I dropped quite a bit. I was in the 40s to now 106, and then total it's 107, just because our continent, we're not active for 2.5 days. We didn't do any battles. So our alliance has dropped to 3rd for this week and 3rd overall. So we're falling pretty quickly without heavy battles or confrontation, because the gates, and I hope that Lock and N Plus in the future will create a better system for gates and not really use the previous Rise of Kingdom model for gate locks, the timer. And I think it just there's a lot of strategy involved and a lot of point, and it encourages too much point trading exchange on the continents that are friendly to each other. They'll just send less than T5s, and they'll just get better exchanges in that, and they'll overcome any of the continents that have stronger players but fewer players. So if you have more accounts, you can overcome. So there's kind of some of the considerations, and I don't know where the exact balance is at this point. I haven't really put as much thought into that, but I know that's an inherent exploit with the gates and the fortresses taking so long to unlock. There's just people will be incentivized to do things that they normally wouldn't do. For this continent versus continent, I didn't do any of the Magdar rallies, just because we're limited in terms of the ability to reach them. And then I believe, this is the one I wanted to show you. So even within my continent here, I've dropped quite a bit. I've gone as high, I believe, as 14, and now I'm down to 22. So what I haven't taken the rally like some of my alliance members. I'm just waiting for the gates to open to do battle and support, to defend and things like that. So I've just taken a different approach. So what I've done to do the minimum supplement for that is I've decided to do more of these monster to kind of get, but I can only heal 50,000 at a time after to kind of, in order to use the maximum number of 8 marches to kind of keep it going. So it's the downside of that. As you can see with the map here, we taken a large hit, and continent 33 has creeped into our area significantly, and then continent 25 has kind of taken over our gate 1 here, so we're going to have to wait, and continent 33 owns both of these. We have this one that we're going to defend, I think, next, gate 4 here. I'm sorry, this gate that battles continent 35, so that'll be up there. And I think we'll just kind of see what's going on and see the results. But right now we're definitely behind continent 25. We're hoping to catch up. I don't think we'll take over continent 33 for the win. They have too many castles. I think we have strong players, but they have too many castles at the end of the day to overcome. And this is it. And I think I'll just give you the results tomorrow. I'll give you an update, and I'll talk to you then. Thank you so much.